Hey guys, welcome to Piano Rogues. I'm Ari.
And I'm Alair.
And today we're going to do another music notations.
So this is Beethoven's arietta Adagio molto semplice e cantabile from Beethoven's Opus 111 Piano Sonata.
And why is this one special?
Because I have to learn this in like a week for our upcoming Beethoven episode. This particular sonata can kind of be called proto-jazz.
Early jazz, early ragtime.
Yeah, it's definitely got some early jazz or early ragtime feel to it. It's really interesting.
You would not recognize it as Beethoven necessarily.
I don't know. If someone was playing this for me and I was supposed to guess the composer, Beethoven might be on the list of composers that I would guess. But I would also have wondered if this was possibly some ragtime or something just because of the rhythms.
Maybe one we should keep for Ethan.
Oh.
If you hear random plastic sounds, that would be the cat. She's got a cone on. Alrighty, now we're ready.
Had a whole bunch of technical issues we had to figure out there.
What do we got?
Right.
What's our first thing?
At the top of the page, lo stesso tempo, which means the same tempo as before. I'm not playing the stuff before, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna play this fast, because that's what it sounded like in the recording that I heard. I'd have to study the entire piece to really know what lo stesso tempo is supposed to be here.
Shall we talk about the time...
Want to try that again?
Shall we talk about the time signature?
Ah, yes. 1232.
Y'all know what that is, right?
Okay, so quick time signatures 101. So the top number on a time signature tells you how many. In this case, that's a number 12, so it means there's going to be 12 of something in the measure. And the bottom number tells you what kind. In this case, it's a 32, so that means 32nd notes. There are going to be 12 32nd notes in every measure because everybody counts 32nd notes when they're counting rhythm. It's totally normal. Looking at this,
Is there something behind that?
where the beams and the 32nd notes are getting smushed together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's where they're intersecting with the lines of the staff.
Also, is that a square?
What, this little doodad?
Yeah.
No, that's a 64th note. Everything that has these triple beams on them, 1, 2, 3, those are my 32nd notes. Whenever we add a fourth beam, that little mini doodad there and there and there and there, those are 32nd notes. So I have some notes that are a little bit longer and then some notes that are a little bit shorter. Long, short, long, short, long, short. If we are talking to anybody who's familiar with jazz, you know anything about what's called swinging eighth notes, you're going to know that that means you play the first eighth note in the pair long and the second one short. Boy, doesn't that look a little bit like the swinging eighth note rhythm in jazz? So here we see a rhythm, a swing rhythm, but written out, and weirdly in 32nd and 64th notes. Proto-jazz!
There's a flat sharp.
Indeed there is. Okay, so it's hard to see because it's all smushed together. That's why I zoomed in. But what's happening here is this little flat sign is on the line, and this little this one, oh, it's too thick. I can't make it go. Oh, there. Okay, so we can see that the flat sign is on the line and the sharp sign is inside the space. That means this is a B flat and this is a C sharp.
There's something hiding in here too.
Oh, that's sneaky. Okay, right here we have a natural sign. We've made the B flat turn into a B natural.
That wouldn't be hard to miss at all.
No, not at all difficult.
All right, let's go to the top line. We have an F.
Yeah, okay, so that's Forte. Forte means loud or strong. We also have a sempre forte, and for some reason we wrote out the word forte instead of just using the forte symbol. I don't know why. You'd have to ask Beethoven. So that means always loud. Wait. He told us to play loud and then he said, always loud. He told us to start loud and then he's like, by the way, stay loud.
Guess someone was getting worn out by the time they got there.
This is just one measure. Yeah, that's a lot of notes to cram into one measure, isn't it?
It is.
Something that I wanted to look at here, how the right hand and the left hand line up. Maybe I can use this measure right here. That one. Okay. One of the things that I'm going to have to be careful about, not just in this measure, but pretty much throughout this segment of the piece is lining my right hand and my left hand up very carefully.
I about need a straight edge to figure that out on this.
Well, yeah, it looks confusing, but I've got these ties, so I know I have to line this up, obviously. Looks like this lines up. And then at the end, and then again at the beginning. Gosh, that's not confusing at all. Look at all those ties! Because this one right here, that's a 30-second note lining up with a 30-second note. And then that's another 30-second note lining up with a 30-second note. But I don't strike that tied. And then this is a 30-second note lining up with a 30-second note. And I do strike that one. I made it so much clearer. Much easier to see now.
So then don't strike that one or that one?
Correct, because this is a tied right here, and this is tied again. So I don't strike that one, and I don't strike that one.
So you just hold it.
I do strike this one, and this one, and this one.
Well, that's a lot of information for 3 notes.
How about if we take some of this off? So I don't strike that one, I don't strike that one, or that one, but I do strike that one, and that one, and that one. Much better, right?
Mm-hmm. All that for playing 3.
This is only 1 beat. Yes, I know we're counting 30-second notes, okay? But nobody's gonna sit there in their right mind and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, it's not happening.
I really want to get a metronome for this one.
There isn't gonna be a metronome that's gonna sit there and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 12/32 really doesn't have anything to do with telling me how fast the tempo of the music is. It just tells me how to count it and how to divide the rhythm. I mean, it could tell me to play largo, and then this would go a whole lot slower. The stesso tempo is telling me how fast to go, and all it says is be the same speed as before. And I don't really know what that means because I haven't looked at the previous pages. Oh, look at this. Look at these doodads. Aha, these are sforzandos. So those are a little bit like accent marks. They mean that I have to make those notes more forceful or bring them out, give them more emphasis than the notes around them.
So we were playing that loud and now we need to play louder.
On those specific notes, yes.
But then it's the whole next row.
But it's not going to apply to every single note in those rows. It only applies to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the notes in that measure.
Okay, then these guys are a little different than the ones we've looked at before.
Oh my, yes, these are 30-second rests. Okay, so we've had 8th rests. We've looked at 16th rests before. I think we had a 16th rest in the White Peacock. This is even tinier. This is a 30-second rest. And then here we have a 30-second note. That's all by his lonesome.
Very sad.
Very sad. He has no friends.
And we're continuing the...
Yep, that's more of the 32nd and 16th note rhythm that's making it sound like swinging. Ooh, look. A sneaky treble clef. My left hand has to play in the treble clef there. Double treble. Oh, look, a 64th rest. That's even tinier than the 32nd rest.
I feel like we need trading cards.
Ooh. 64th rest. I choose you.
Yeah.
Use silence.
Oh, I don't think we've talked about a repeat.
Oh, maybe not. Pete and repeat were sitting in a boat. Pete fell out. Who is left?
Nope.
This is a repeat sign. The repeat sign tells you that you have to repeat a certain section of the music. In this particular case, when we start this section up here at the stesso tempo, and we play through it the first time through, we are going to use what's called a first ending. It's supposed to end this way this time through. And then we go back and we repeat. We go back, we start at the stesso tempo again, and then we come down, and on the second time through, rather than playing the first ending, we've already done the first ending. We did that the first time through, so now we skip it, and we do the second ending instead. And as you can see, they put a little itty-bitty double bar line there. I guess it's to show us that the section is going to change. We're actually supposed to keep going at that point.
Oh, so we're keeping that note going.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure if that's a tie or a slur. It's a little bit ambiguous because I don't see what's next on the next page.
What's a slur?
Let's do this. So in music, if you have 3 notes that are on different lines or spaces, or any number of notes that are on different lines or spaces, and you have a curvy line that's connecting them, that's called a slur. It means that I have to make them sound smooth and connected, like so. I have 2 or more notes that are in the same line or space, and I connect them. You get a smiley face. What this means is that these two notes' values are going to be combined. And since this is a half note plus a half note, that's going to be a total of 4 beats, or 4 quarter note beats, to be precise.
You can't leave out the 3-eyed smiley face. It's a smiley face, too.
Okay. It's a 3-eyed smiley face. Fair and valid point, Ari. That's an eighth rest. I missed. I entirely missed that. Let's try that again. There we go. That's an eighth rest.
Why is that guy natural?
Because he was flatted back here.
Those count as the same note, even though they're
in different lines and spaces.
Or I mean, they just I
guess you make a point. Sometimes it'll be only the same line or space. They'll want you to have another flat sign to tell you that that should also be flatted if you wanted it to be, because it's on a different space.
Octave.
Yeah, different octave. Thank you. But I guess this is like a cautionary. By the way, we want this one to be natural now.
We really mean it.
Yeah, we really, really mean it. I feel like that was a more old-fashioned rule for flats and sharps, to have it be where if it was in a different octave, then it had to be remarked. I'm pretty sure modern music theory, actually I know for sure in modern music theory, we just assume that it lasts for the whole measure if something is marked with a flat or a sharp.
I mean, trying to remember for the measure.
Yeah. Oh.
And having to have a new set of rules for the next measure instead of just...
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I complain when there are so many accidentals or sharps and flats thrown into the measures that I'm sight reading. It gets really hard to keep track of what's what after a while. At least it does for me.
Yeah, I would just go through and write them all in.
Well, when I'm sight reading on stream, I don't have time to do that.
Okay, guys, you wanted this? Here we go. So overarching arch?
That's a slur.
Okay.
Because it's connecting all these different notes.
And then the little arches on these guys next to it.
Those are ties, because it's connecting 2 or more notes that are the same.
All right, so now we are on page 16.
Yep. And it looks like at this point, at somewhere along the way, we have done away with the 30-second 16th note pattern that we had going on in the rhythm. And now we just have even 30-second notes now. Except for right here. Now we've got... All of a sudden, those are some 64th notes right there.
Why
That's
are we
fun.
Restating the treble here?
Because back here we had a sneaky bass clef. And then it's like, now we're back to normal.
Just 6 low notes, I guess.
It wants my right hand to be crossed over my left hand down there. That's odd. And so then my right hand is playing this. My right hand's crossed over my left hand down there. Right hand plays this, left hand plays this, and then right hand goes back to where it's supposed to be. Interesting.
So what do we have going on here?
Okay, so we have a sforzando that lines up with this stuff. Again, that's going to mean I have to make this more emphasized than what's around it. And then after that, we have a diminuendo or decrescendo. Same difference. Means start loud and get softer.
But how does that work with only 2?
Well, look at all this junk that I've got going on in my left hand.
Oh, okay. It means both sides, not just...
Yeah, it's not just for the right hand. It's for both hands.
Okay. Could you specify just one hand?
You could, if you wanted to have a crescendo or decrescendo just for the one hand or the other, or if you wanted to have a dynamic symbol that was for one hand or the other. The dynamic symbol would be written either below the notes or just down closer to one hand or another. Or if it was a diminuendo or a crescendo, then it would be written down here for just the left hand, or up here for just the right hand.
We have a snowflake.
Oh, it's a pretty snowflake. So that cute little snowflake is actually not a snowflake at all. It is part of this pedal mark. You can see the fancy cursive PED there. That stands for pedal. And when you see that, it refers to the pedal all the way on the right, or the damper pedal. So what this means is I have to put the damper pedal down here and then hold it down until I get to here, and that's where I release it. Now it looks like a little tree. It's a tree.
So if you don't have that, you don't use a pedal?
Well, not quite, because this is kind of an old-fashioned way to mark pedals. In modern music, if we wanted to start a pedal and then pick it up, a lot of times now you would see them do that. The beginning of the bracket, that would mean pedal goes down. As long as the line continues, you keep holding it down, and then at the end of the bracket, you pick the pedal up.
Whoop, what's going on over here?
This little doodad, the itty bitty note, that is called a grace note. It means that really quickly, before I play the bigger note, I have to play the little note first.
Okay, we might want
like this. Yeah, we've got another sneaky treble clef. We've got sneaky bass clef, back to treble clef.
Oh,
and
we
then
know what
back
these
to
are.
Bass clef again. We know what are. Oh, you mean pee-pee. That just means that we have to play even quieter there. That's pianissimo again.
Well, that's the first time he's asked us to play quiet.
Is it? I remember it was really loud on the other page, but here we have a piano. Is hidden, but is a piano mark.
We have squiggly woos start with an H and then squiggles.
Oh, that's not actually an H. Let's zoom in so you can see it better. That is actually a TR, which stands for trill. This means I start trilling here, and then as long as my little squiggly woo keeps going, I have to keep trilling. As long as the squiggly woo continues, that's how long the trill continues. But if all they'd done was written a TR underneath this one, that might mean that you're only supposed to trill on that one note rather than continuing all the way across. This would be the main pitch of the trill, and then you're going to go back and forth. So it looks like... And then while you're trilling, you're supposed to play these notes up above with the same hand, because that's not at all tricky to trill and play other notes in the melody at the same time in the same hand. No problem. It's fine.
Is there a little B here?
Yes, it looks like that's a flat sign. So this was a trill that went to the E natural above the D. Now we're going to do E flat instead. Except I wasn't supposed to have the C sharp before that. There's no grace note that time. So it just starts with the E flat like that.
What is happening here?
Okay, so
you
this
have
is
3
an
hands?
ossia. So what this means is that instead of playing what's written down here,
Okay, excuse me.
what's written down here, instead of playing that, I could play this instead.
Could or should?
Could. I'm being given a choice. And I don't actually know which one is more difficult because I haven't played this yet. I would actually probably have to listen to a recording to know if I can find someone that does the ossia to know what to do with that. Or just experiment with playing it myself and try to figure it out. But right now, just looking at it and studying it without actually trying it, I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do.
What's the 5/4?
Oh, that's the fingering. So I use 5 on the higher note in the trill and 4 on the lower note in the trill. And then down here, I've actually accidentally covered it up with my circle, but that said 1 and 2. So that means I'm supposed to trill with 1 and 2 on the bottom and 5 and 4 on top.
And you're trilling on the bottom too?
Yeah, in my left hand. Super great.
So then
3 trills at once. Okay, now that I've actually played the left hand with it, I think I am supposed to do this parallel, which doesn't make me happy at all. That's actually really difficult.
You thought Bumblebee was bad.
It was bad. That doesn't mean this can't be worse.
Well, we'll probably have to have an episode on trills. Your
I
favorite
hate
things.
trills.
Oh, look, we have an octave at that thing.
We have that thing. That is an ottava sign. Yes, ottava. And because it is above the notes, it means it's an ottava alta, meaning I have to play an octave higher than the notes are written. So rather than playing them here, I'm going to play them here.
And repeat?
Nope, that's just a double bar line telling us that we're in a new section now. It's quite possible that the reason we needed the double bar line there was to help with the key change that's happening.
Oh.
New rules, everyone! Now you have to remember that these 3 notes are flatted. Yay!
Little note.
Oh, itty-bitty notes. These are like,
You have baby notes.
yeah, so they're just supposed to go really quick before the... They just have to go real quick before the E natural. They're probably intended as a trill finisher because we have a trill going on. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's a trill finisher.
We haven't looked at our words.
Okay, so this is short for crescendo, which means get gradually louder.
Then why didn't they use the thing? They've used the thing elsewhere.
Probably because it's spread over the course of 3 measures. Write the word and then have these little dashes to show us how far to spread the crescendo out, rather than trying to do that. I've also seen things like that in other music. That stands for diminuendo, which means to get gradually softer.
They did it again.
Yeah, there we maybe could have, because it's just probably over the course of these 2 beats we're supposed to be diminuendoing. Because over here we see we're supposed to get down to a piano.
Espresso.
No. There's no X there. That's an S.
Espresso.
And it's not a caffeinated beverage. This is espressivo, which means to play expressively. There's a sempre pianissimo. It means to play always very soft. Kind of like the other page where we had the sempre forte. Here, this is sempre pianissimo.
So all of you are going to have that ready to play next week.
Yeah, because I was super helpful. I don't know what any of you are complaining about. If anything I said was unclear or rambling, I mean, my thoughts are always very organized.
Don't forget to
please like and subscribe to our YouTube.
Thanks for letting us steal your screens for a while. Stay rogue.